What's going on, guys? It's Colton here, and today's video is going to be a Friday Forex price action study. I did something a little bit different with this video here. I've seen on a couple other channels and in the comments, everybody wants to see some live trade management, seeing how you get in and how you properly get out of the market. So what I did was I recorded my trading view session from this morning. I took an intraday buy position on the S&P 500, and the beautiful thing is and which is perfect because number one, you guys can see that I'm not right 100% of the time, right? I'm not perfect inside of these markets. And number two is that you can literally still learn from the losses that you take, right? As a retail trader, you couldn't always figure out why the market stopped you out, but as a smart money-minded trader, if you get stopped out, you should have enough things to point to and realize, oh, that's why I went wrong. Oh, this is what I need to keep in mind next time. So I think this is going to be super powerful for everybody that sticks through the video. I'm also going to touch on pound dollar. I had some nice plays this morning. This isn't going to be the big indice video that everybody's been waiting for. I want to make that later on this week, but I just want to touch on this morning's price action. So I hope you guys enjoy. As a friendly reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, right? I'm just an individual here on YouTube sharing for education and entertainment purposes only. Everything that I share is purely demo accounts. If you guys want to go connect with me on other social medias, those are posted down below. You could join the free Telegram chat that's posted down below. And other than that, if you find anything that I say in this video to your liking and you think it could help you in the future, go ahead and make sure to smash that thumbs up button. Go ahead and click subscribe if you aren't already. And I'm really excited to share today's video with you all. So let's get into the price action. All right, so we are going to dive right into the recording. I actually hopped on TradingView right as the trade was happening. So you see me go ahead and execute the buy position right here, okay? So an intraday buy position on the S&P 500 right there at the price of 33.50 at our half level. I have put a stop up underneath the recent low at 33.43, so risking about 7 points. The reason for entry at 33.50, as you see, is that imbalance, 50% right there. And what we're going to target are those London highs that were made at 33.75. So, looking for about 25 points here on the S&P on a Friday morning here during New York session, right at the 9:35 Eastern time hour. And here I'm just showing how liquidity built up all through London right before these order blocks, which I would have liked the market to go trade up into over those highs. Now, as you guys see, I'm pointing out that there was a little imbalance, right, that got traded into, and then we traded up. So we're looking for the same exact thing here, more, if you would, a reaccumulation at the price of 33.50. I went ahead and stuck my take profit on there as well at 33.75. And now let me go ahead and walk you guys through what's going through my mind, right? Because now it's been almost 10 minutes and the market's still hanging out around 33.50, right? So here I wrote they create all the Asian session and London session buyers just to dip down in New York to continue high prices. I pull out a fib here, show the 61% retracement, right? And again, just allowing the market to do its thing. And as I'm sitting here in this trade, right, and market pushes down really close to my stop loss. Number one, you got to understand that, hey, you got to be okay with a 7 pip stop. And again, you're not going to be right 100% of the time. Where I actually went a little bit wrong on this trade was not keeping in mind, my hour 4, hour 1 bearish bias that we had. But that's more than all right, because there's still a lot to learn from this entry here. So, for the next 30 to 40 seconds of this recording, I think it's going to be pretty slow. Price hangs out right around here. And you just start thinking that, hey, if price isn't rejecting off 33.50 as fast as I wanted, is there possibilities that I would want to scale this trade earlier? Maybe number one, because it's a Friday morning, maybe there's not as much liquidity in the markets, and that's what you start seeing me do here. So I point out the price of 33.65, and I'll let you guys read this. I should have some of this recording silent so y'all can just take it in as well. So I'm saying at this high, you would be up 15 points on the S&P, which is where I would take first scale and reduce risk. Also, it's the high of the New York Open takeout to the upside, right? So as you see, my mind at that time was like, all right, we're not getting that fast reaction that I want. So I may go ahead and reduce my risk off the table once we come near and equal out that high. So market's just playing out. It's about probably around 9:45 now. Right, for your indices, and this is something that we'll touch on in a later video. Actually, I'll hold off on that. This is me trying to figure out how to close a partial position, but I only dropped a single lot. So I couldn't close a partial position, but that's all okay. It won't happen again when I'm doing these recordings. I'm excited for this. I hope this is helping you guys walk through. Now, as you see that 5-minute close right at 33.60, so I'm up about 10 points. Everything's looking great. I'm getting ready to go ahead and reduce that risk once we reach that 33.65 threshold. We push up about another point or two. Still getting used to the trading view paper trading. Can't close a partial. So it looked good, but again, overall, guys, those London highs respected the order blocks to the left, and the market wanted to go ahead and run those lows at 33.43. And I was never able to, secure any partials. They didn't want to run that New York fake out high, which was, I guess the real high in this situation. And price, goes ahead from here and drives down into the stop. But I'm going to go ahead and, also pull up TradingView now for you all. Here now that it's about 4 p.m. Eastern time, markets are coming to a close. And we'll review what happened after the market went ahead and stopped me out on this position. So I was showing there that, you got to give it leeway inside of the rest of that imbalance, but it did come back and stop me out for a negative 7-point move this morning, which is perfect because on a Friday, y'all should already be secured on what you did the rest of the week, and you should never risk it all on a Friday. Perfect. So hopefully everybody found that recording super insightful. I had fun doing it. I'm excited to do more in the future. What we're going to do now is look at the fundamentals that I had going on Friday and go ahead and walk through the rest of the S&P 500 price action and touch on pound dollar, right? So looking at Friday, we had some Euro group meetings. We had big news on the Euro Thursday, so I'm not really worried about that. Regular USD news going on. Really nothing I was particularly looking for. And as you saw across the currency board, everything pretty much traded sideways. Everything was in consolidation areas, so pretty much a regular Friday. So as we look at the S&P 500, right, here's Monday to Friday, overall a bearish momentum moving down. As you see, Friday's candle pretty much closed as a doji, which confirms that sideways price action, right? Market open, pretty much traded sideways. What I want to do is focus in on the hour so we can go into lower time frames and I can discuss the entry even more. So we see market opens up right here. We trade sideways. We make a Monday high and then we drive below it. Now, the key thing is on Tuesday or Wednesday's market opened on Tuesday night, right? We get pretty much this candle that drove below the lows and we had a nice sell to buy retest, right? And nice structure to the upside. And then this structure to the upside, right? We were looking to see if we could maybe fill somewhere inside of this last up candle. And what we ended up doing was equaling out twice, which I believe left a pool of liquidity right here. So not quite getting to that candle. The market decided to drop back down, right, on Thursday. And we had a play inside of this order block as well. So as you could see, right, we had some clean plays inside of this price action going on the hour chart. And then we'll pull this one out, right, take the 50% here, right? Even that initial rejection was really nice. So going into Friday, what I was really looking at, right, is seeing if we could, right, trickle up all day London or all day Asian and London here, and we left these equal highs. I was seeing if we could trade above these highs to ultimately even get up here, since we already made these lows in the candle. And what I was looking at is a low, a higher low, a higher low, and seeing if we could get evidence of a higher low in here. So we'll go ahead and look at it. Nothing really much I want to show on the 15-minute time frame. This was, our entry area this morning of the recording right inside of here. This is obviously the one that got played. So I'm going to go back down into the 5-minute chart and show you guys what was going on here. So, right, I had pointed out this imbalance that we were looking to play. And I had my stops right up underneath this low. I'll go ahead and make this red. And the entries was right around 50, right? If I was showing, 50 entry here. So what I did, right, is when the market drove down in this 5-minute candle, wasn't the greatest, looking at it right here, very bearish in its nature. But overall, you guys saw the market stall out at my entry, right? Even if I would have waited a little bit, it got an entry a little bit lower, right, near this pool of candles, right? Market traded up, almost gave me a high, ultimately stopped me out, right? And then traded above those highs. And that's what's super important here. And that's what I'm going to show you guys on a smaller time frame. If I wasn't recording and doing it all off the 5-minute, again, all just for practice, I was playing with it too, which is exciting. But let me show you guys what really happened here on a smaller time frame, right? Look what's cool right here. So right before this big imbalance area, right, we have all of these lows, right? All of these lows. So what does the market do right at 9:30, right? We drive up and then we trade down. And this is where the initial entry was. We entered here, market traded up, came back down again. And that's not a good sign, right? Like I said, it got pretty close to the stop, but then we saw that evidence of market trading up. Now, what I was looking at is to scale here, and ultimately the market just decided to make a lower high and then came back down. But this is the powerful thing, right? It's okay that it stopped me out here because this is what I learned from it. I entered on the first pool, right, that they took out, and then they made a second pool of money right here, right? And then what happens after the second pool of money? They dip below it, they trade above, get a nice wick retracement right here. Here's the last dip. And what did they do? They traded above the highs. So this was the overall move that I was looking for. Sometimes you're just not going to get it, right? They got to come back for a little bit more, or it's a Friday morning, or whatever it may be. So I hope that shows you guys a little bit as to how I would have done it, right? If this market would have traded up above this high, I would have taken stop loss and probably, moved it right below this wick even. I still would have taken the small L, but you would have reduced your risk. And as this made new highs, we could have crept this up, right? But overall, that's really what went on. After it ended up stopping me out on the recording, let me get back to it over here, right? After it ended up stopping me out on the recording, it drove up near here, and then ultimately we came and took all the lows, right? I had different targets than what I had pointed out, and that was it for that market. So that's what I have on the S&P and explaining how that trade panned out. For GBP USD, right? This was the big factor here. I told you guys the big player for this week was that 2800 whole level, right? We had pointed it out on Tuesday's video for anybody that was on the live session. And it makes sense as to why today we consolidated all around that 2800 level, right? This imbalance, 2800, everything we need is pretty much right here for us. So going into today's price action, you guys can see we consolidated around that 2800 area. But this is what cool, there was still a trade setup. So let me show the 15-minute, and it's similar to the S&P setup. So check out this price. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the 2800 whole price level, right? And right here we got, beautiful. So look at this. We have Asian session, right? All the way up to 2 a.m. Market pretty much moves sideways for Asian session. This is what we get, right? Right at London open, right? We get our swing high, right? This is the London move, the London swing high, drive, trade below the lows, right? So we pretty much made this candle. Now this could have continued down as far as it wanted to go, but what did we see? We saw evidence that in that pre-New York session, we came up and traded at and even above
this London high. So that showed evidence that we might have gone for higher prices. So what, I also identified, after the fact, looking back on the market from this morning, when we made this move up, right? What did we leave? A nice imbalance area here, right? With nice down candles here to possibly, right, run these highs. Now let's go ahead and look into a smaller time frame. Now, at that time of 9:30, right, that I was looking at and now what I was live, right? I'm going to show you where price was. Now, if I so let's look at this. If you would have been up for early New York and you would have tried to play this imbalance at 8:30, you might have been able to get a little bit out of it. But overall, right, I'm not looking at the market at 8:30. I'm waiting for that 9:30 time. So what happens right around 9:30? Is it a coincidence that the market was bundling up here at these lows before this deeper imbalance here? And then also, watching the open to the 50% of that institutional candle, right? So what did the market do? It drove a little bit lower than these lows right here at 935. And what was your target? You wanted to trade, what do you want to target? Any sell structure, which was left right here, right? So what does the market do? Trades down, shows evidence, trading up above, pretty much played this one. We got that retest down below and then ultimately traded higher. So, in reality, if you would have been trying to take, anything inside of here, entering even, we'll say 50% of the imbalance, right? You could have risked 8 to 17 pips, right? And you would have been looking to catch at least about 35 to 40. So 3-to-1, 4-to-1 ratios off the bat here. And as you look even deeper into price, right, as we even go look at the minute chart, you're going to see that same evidence that the S&P did, right? What did we do? 8:30, you don't take this, right? Let this play out. What do they do right before 9:30? They create more equal lows, right? Market has that drive below the lows. If you didn't get this entry, that's fine. It gave you 2 extra areas, right? What did the market do? We had the institutional drive down. We saw the evidence of money getting back behind the move. So on this pullback, right, you could even, if you want to take a shorter stop, you throw a stop up under this low, right, and go over this high. But again, this is just showing that, how fractal the market really is. You didn't even quite get to the open of that candle. But overall, this structure is what it wanted to play. And what did we do? We traded one candle above the highs, right? So very clean, right? I know long awaiting confirmation checklist video number 6 on the time of day. That's going to touch on these sessions like this 9:30 time, 9:45 time. So be on the lookout for confirmation checklist video. I hope you guys were able to get some value from this. I found it pretty fun. I'm excited. Whether I win or I lose, we learn, and that's the biggest part about this. So until next time, let's get it. Be on the lookout for another video. Smash that like button if you haven't already, and let's have a great weekend.